The Pharaoh's mission is one of the more interesting missions in the Mass Effect franchise. You first land the colony of Zhu's Hope and everything seems alright at first, but everything is not alright at all. The colony is under attack from the Geth, but even worse, the colonists are being controlled by an entity buried beneath them. This entity is known as the Thorian, an ancient sentient plant that can control people's thoughts and actions. This Lovecraftian plant is the main cause of everything that's happened at Zhu's Hope. In this video, we're going to put a spotlight on its history, but also how it plays into the events of the series. As I said before, the Thorian is ancient. It's at least 50,000 years old, but no one really knows how old it actually is. It can hibernate for thousands of years, which makes it impossible to come to a concrete answer, but that time frame could give reason to its monstrous size. It's huge at first glance, but that doesn't even do it justice. Outside of its main body is a network of tendrils that covers much of Pharaoh's surface. Some of its sensory tendrils reach multiple kilometers long, though in places they are gathered into nerve bundles or neural nodes. It's a beast of a plant, and despite being one, it's also pretty intelligent. According to Xiao, the Thorian existed on Pharaohs long before the Protheans arrived. When the Protheans did arrive and began building the metropolis that would eventually cover Pharaohs, the curious Thorian studied them, and likely made several of them into his thralls and even absorbed them after they died, allowing them to become part of his expanding consciousness. From the Protheans, the Thorian's mind gradually absorbed the knowledge that would form the cipher, which would be an important plot point in Mass Effect 1. In the 2170s, Exogeny Corporation began settling Pharaohs and established a colony within one of the ruined skyscrapers, not realizing that the Thorian was beneath it. The Thorian awakened from its hibernation, and with it sensing the presence of so many potential thralls, it was too tempting to resist. In 2183, a survey team was exploring the ruins when they inadvertently entered the Thorian's lair and were infected with its spores. Exogeny realized what had happened, but instead of protecting the colonists, they isolated the settlement to see what would happen and study the Thorian's massive sensory and mind-controlling potential. They turned the colony into a control group. Company of the year, am I right? As Exogeny watched on, it took less than a month for 80% of Zhu's Hope's inhabitants to become infected and began performing tasks for the Thorian. The Exogeny VI reports that via these spores, the Thorian issues mental commands to its thralls. If they resist, the thralls suffer intense pain until they are conditioned against any thoughts of rebellion. Although the initial conditioning is painful, the Thorian doesn't force the thralls to do anything that would put them in danger. What good are tools if they break, right? This tightrope dynamic allows the colonists to give the illusion of a normal existence until the Thorian needs them. As you talk to people around the colony, you notice that the colonists are hesitant to say certain things, almost as something is monitoring them. There were some who were strong enough to resist the conditioning for a while, like Ian Newstead down in the tunnels, but the Thorian made sure to keep these few out of sight, which is probably why Ian was in the tunnels in the first place. This leads into Mass Effect 1, where everything has gone to shit on Pharaohs. Saren Arterius had learned of the Thorian's existence and his connection to the Protheans. He traveled to Pharaohs with his army of Geth and a powerful Asari biotic, Xiao. He went to the Thorian and proposed a trade, offering Xiao as a sacrifice. Xiao melded with the Thorian. Sharing the Thorian's consciousness gave Xiao the cipher, which Xiao then transferred to Saren's mind. Unfortunately, Saren knew that Shepard was after him. He couldn't rest on getting the cipher, so he ordered the Geth to destroy the Thorian and all traces of its existence. The Geth launched an assault on Zhu's Hope, but the colonists blocked the entrance to the Thorian's lair with their wrecked ship, the Borealis. And since they were under the Thorian's control, they were forced to defend it, to the death if needed. When Shepard arrived at the colonists at Zhu's Hope were grateful and relieved to see the squad. The Thorian saw Shepard as the perfect weapon to destroy the Geth, and instructed the Solarian merchant Ledra to sell Shepard whatever weapons he had available, and make the other colonists urge Shepard to focus on fighting the Geth. However, after Shepard went to the Exogeny building, the Thorian's massive sensory network likely picked up what the commander had learned, and that the Thorian realized Shepard, like Saren, would probably try to kill it. It forced the colonists to turn on Shepard's squad, and they even tried to attack the Normandy. The Thorian forced the colonists to fight Shepard's team on their way back to the crashed fighter at Zhu's Hope. It also sends its minions to Thorian creepers to stop you. They look like husks except they're gray and have claws. Oh, and they spew acid. Avoid that at all costs. It made one last attempt to stop them with the colony's leader Fidan, but he rebelled against the Thorian's control and shot himself. If only he knew Shepard had anti-Thorian grenades. Once Shepard and the team finds the Thorian, they are shocked by how huge it is. To communicate with Shepard, the Thorian produces a clone to speak for it. It's gross. But anyway, as it speaks to Shepard, it refers to itself as the Old Growth, and says they should be at awe of his presence. Shepard tries to ask for the cipher that was given to Saren. However, since Saren is an asshole and betrayed the Thorian, it has no interest in making a deal, and so it begins sending Asari clones and creepers after them. The Thorian's weak point is the neural nodes distributed throughout the building. Destroying nodes will dislodge the Thorian and cause it to fall to its death. This also frees Xiao, and while she is grateful to be free, she was also saddened by the Thorian's death. Despite what it did to colonists and Xiao herself, it was a unique form of life that would never be seen again. In my opinion, while it was a rare life form, it likes to enslave people's minds, and that made it a problem for anyone trying to study it. Considering how incompetent the research companies are in the series, and how they're more than likely to cause a catastrophe, it's better off dead. Although the Thorian is dead, its influence still lives on in the later games. Unfortunately, the effects of the Thorian spores still affected its victims. The colonists began having headaches or muscle spasms, similar to what they experienced while under the Thorian's control. Whenever a colonist goes near a former Thorian victim, they can feel the victim's heat sensations or pain. Xiao is spared, has her pigment changed to green, similar to her clones, and her biotic abilities are unstable. Zhu's Hope contacted Barrier Frontiers in hopes of studying and possibly curing the colonists. This side effect will actually benefit them when the Reapers attack Zhu's Hope, as the lingering hive mind effect of the spores allows them to coordinate effectively. The colonists were able to hold out against the invading forces until they fully evacuated the colony. The Thorian was an interesting life form. The fact that it was able to survive thousands of years, and its ability to enslave people made it a must study with exogeny. However, the way it sees people as tools, the fact that it has the potential to enslave a whole planet, and how it no longer trusted humans thanks to Saren, made it too dangerous to keep around. Ironically, its influence is what ended up saving the colonists from the Reapers. Thank you for watching, guys. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
DJ Sonic Freak.